everyone. It is Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's time for our weekly tarot reading. So for those of you all who are here, say hi, throw a little emoji up. I love to see who's in the room with me. And the minute I start talking, I need water. Happy Monday. It's definitely spring in Brooklyn. It was so beautiful over the weekend, but it's like been rainy and kind of a little mucky, and allergies are a thing right now. Hi, Kayla. Good morning. So I feel like we had a big weekend, and then we need to just kind of gently touch on that off of our full moon. If anybody's feeling a little extra tired or kind of sluggish, hi, Paula. Let me know. There's been a lot of that feedback. We had our first full moon ritual here in Carroll Gardens on Friday. It was so beautiful, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm just even more excited about the next one. Hi, Anita. So the full moon energy, we're still sitting in it really as of today, and then we'll start to crawl our way out. And I really feel like it's a crawl. Our weekly reading last week was big. It was kind of intense. And so if you all are feeling really tired, really sluggish, remember that's the time to listen to your body, take it slow, rest, meditate more, hydrate more, throw some things off your plate if you can. When the body starts to feel like that, it's typically a time of healing, right? And so this full moon offered us a lot. And last week's tarot reading, like full moon or not, offered us a lot of integration. And that's a little dense and a little uncomfortable and requires a lot of rest from this physical 3D body. So say hi as you come in the room, you guys. I'm just doing a little recap of the weekend because it's rainy and a little overcast here in Brooklyn, and it's spring break and my kids are home, and it just feels a little like, can we all go back to bed? Because it's so like overcast here. But the weekend was big, and if you all weren't here with me, how did you spend your full moon weekend? And did you have your own full moon ritual? Did you listen to your full moon tarot reading over at unicornwellness.studio? And maybe what did you release in this full moon? Okay. So the reading today, I'm excited to get to it because I kind of go, after last week, where are we going to go from here? The astrology is a little... I don't want to say intense because this is getting a little like every week is intense. Good morning, Sue. But there's some things happening. And so this week could be interesting. Some are reading it as it could be a little bumpy, a little uncomfortable this week. I always like to look at that as like the potential for real magic to come through unexpectedly. Opportunities, relationships, like things that are like, whoa, out of nowhere. Hi, Lacey and Melinda and Jill. Hi, you guys. So I really want to hear like how you're feeling. How are you feeling over this weekend? Just throw it up in the comments. And I am really interested to see what this week's reading holds for us. As more people join us and get in the room, a couple of the housekeeping things, because we can on a Monday. There are 9 more days to purchase your deep dive sessions to thrive. This is the full 90-minute wellness consultation with me. This is the only time during the year that I put them on sale. So they're on sale until the end of this month of April. So don't forget, I think sometimes we do a sale for a really long period of time. It's like, and then you think I'm going to do it at the very end, and then you forget, and then it's done. They're 20% off. It's totally well worth it. Those who are doing the sessions, like they'll tell you it's magic. I try to post their feedback in my Instagram stories, so it comes from the source, not from me. These sessions, deal with movement, fuel, spiritual ritual, daily habits. It really covers some life coaching pieces as well as, fitness and wellness coaching. And then we'll map out all of your movement patterns, the schedule in which to embark on them and in what order. We do address cardio, we do address fuel and hydration, and go through any injuries, any illnesses, any diagnoses. We definitely check into the medications that you guys are on and take all those those things into play and supplement. I mean, it's literally everything, hence the deep dive. It's an hour and a half with me online. And then it's another hour and a half minimum of my time offline before I send you everything back about a week later. But you'll have tons of notes to go from that session. Any of those who've done the session, maybe share, little comments about it. They really are life-changing sessions, and it's about once a year that you need to do it. I have clients who love to do it once every year, and some people who do it like once ever, but it's enough to make the transitions and the breakthroughs. So there's that. So they're on sale, so don't miss it. Come May 1st, they're not on sale anymore. Okay. Oh, thanks, Cynthia. I did do some bright colors for spring today, and it is really overcast and rainy and a little dreary, so I'm kind of like, pulling my way through too. The weekend was a mixed bag for sure. Yeah, so just really, this is the time when you start to feel the craziest, emotionally crazy, relative terms, to anchor into the practical tactics. I also want to say, hi, Katie, really use your essential oils, especially when you're feeling rough emotionally. It tends to be the thing that I forget to use. So, and then when I do, I'm like, oh, that's so soothing, like, a really great little elixir. So, don't forget about all the tools in your unicorn toolbox. I love the rose glycerin spray too, because it's a cleanser. It's also the energy of love. And so if things are a little rough, or you need some brightening, I use that a lot in our house. A lot of fire signs in our house. It's a good cooling aspect of it. Please understand that the weekend and that full moon energy is cathartic. It offers so much transition. So if we're willing to look at it and willing to dig through it and kind of get quiet and hunker down with it, there's so much. Okay. Let's see. And this is the other thing in my notes is that, we're coming off of the full moon energy. So this is like amplified energy. It hits us one of two ways. In theory and in the grand collective, the full moon energy offers us more energy to work with. And it also can give us a lot of anxious energy. It's challenging to sleep during the full moon because everything's like amped and ramped up. So the workouts on the site this week and last week, we're still in our full moon energy. So the workout today is still going to ask for that extra bit of push. Some of us will get like and need to put that energy somewhere. Others of us, because there's so much energy at play, it can wear us out. And I've been through those phases too. If that's the case, again, you can still hit play on the video of the day at unicornwellness.studio and just give what you've got to the work that's up. I do love for you all to do that because everything's written in accordance to the current astrology. But if you're like, dude, I hear you, I just can't, go back to the new moon week and have another constructive rest week of working with your body, of stretching, of integrating these healing energies and frequencies, because healing takes release. So you can go back to those stretches. Just listen to your body, hang in there, but don't go stagnant. Like, don't not get on the mat. Okay. Especially right now. Instagram this week. So if you guys are on Instagram, if you're not, you might want to this week. I got a little surprise for everybody towards the end of the week. I think Friday we'll have a little surprise, especially, just for the Instagrammers. So be on the lookout and on the little ear out for that. And Sunday, May 5th. So I'm doing a lot more live events here in Brooklyn this year. If you're in Brooklyn or in the area, or you're traveling and want to come visit, Sunday, May 5th, I'm teaching at Holistic Picnic. And I'll put a link in the video after we're done to it if you're interested in seeing what it is. They're going to have Aura photographer there. They're going to have little ear seeds from a great new acupuncture studio here in the neighborhood. And so it is a holistic picnic. And I'm teaching 2 sessions that day at 1 o'clock and at 3:30. So if you're around, I'll put a link at the bottom. All the info will be on Instagram. And hopefully by the end of the week, I'll have it up on a new events page on TanaGutierrez.com. So, and again, if you're ever interested, just, message me or comment and I'll get back to you with all the right information. Okay. So checking in on the comments before we get to our reading, because Lacey, understand that the sickness is very much probably in conjunction. Every sickness is an opportunity to heal. Every illness is a purge. I got to the end of the weekend and still this funky cough. I was like, I think I've had a cold all week, because it's like like an expectorate kind of cough, where I'm like, oh, and my energies are pretty low, knowing that for me, it's definitely a throat clearing thing. So just look at, what kind of sickness it was and what it's affecting and what you're feeling, because that's an opportunity to heal. It's also a lot of messaging about what we're dealing with. Postnasal drip stuff, sinus congestion is mourning, sadness that hasn't been released prior, that's stagnant and trying to make its way out of the body. Anything in the throat is that throat chakra, hearing, speaking your true voice, feeling empowered in the things that you say and being heard in the universe. Stomach issues or emotions that are difficult to digest, and things that don't sit well, in your stomach, that you just can't stomach. So start to listen to your aches and pains in this way, as well as the functional. Always take care of the physical body, but understand that the messaging is bringing you something even more and even deeper, in particular on these big lunations. Okay. Let's see what else. I'm looking at the comments. Yeah, I mean, I was up till like on Friday night after the event, I was up till like 2:30 or something. I was like, unbelievable. And then Saturday was just a waste, which was fine. We took it as a rest day, but this energy is intense. So, yeah, the throat, chest, cough, congestion, and chest can go into the heart chakra too, also into that mourning and loss and really getting rid of things that are keeping the capacity to heal or capacity to love coming in or out at bay. So, yeah, I mean, there's just so much. It offers a lot right now, but it's also really intense because the physical body is mucky and it tends to process it as anger, sadness, and a little bit of sickness. Yeah, so it's just big things that I didn't mention, and I try to share like my journey so that it's like, oh, okay, she's going through it too. I took another, reminder glance at my chart, and I was like, oh yeah, my personal North Node is in Libra, so I feel like a lot of my karmic purpose got ignited, turned on in this moon. It was a little exhausting and it felt really good and really content, but also a lot of energy at play. And then it's, it's that adrenaline up, down. So it's like, we can't always live in the excitement. And then when things are so exciting and so up, then you're like, I'm really tired and I want to hide from everybody to help process it and try to find even footing again. So it's, we're still sitting in full moon energy for sure today. Tomorrow we'll start to wean out of it. But these are the issues and these are the things we're dealing with for the next 2 weeks. So really look at what needs to be released, what needs to be let go, what doesn't create balance for you anymore. This is where the work is. And so reference last week's tarot reading. I would definitely listen to last Tuesday's full moon ritual, and then go back on unicornwellness.studio and listen to your full moon reading again. This is where the personal detective work begins, of listening to these things and what sounds really loud to you, and then what sounds really quiet, it's kind of nagging. These are the two bits to play with. Totally weird question. I love totally weird questions. Well, they're just more sensitive. Animals are just more sensitive. So the question was, what happens with animal sickness during the full moons? They're just more sensitive to those elements at play. And so, this is similar stuff. I mean, you could look at her chart if when the kitty was born. I mean, it's all same patterns and prospects of things. And so I just think that they're much more sensitive. Those of us with autoimmune issues tend to have, a rough time at full moons. It can ebb and flow, but what I see is that all that extra energy gets just really hard. So you just may have a kitty who's really sensitive, and clearly she's a familiar. So she may be offering you information about you also. So just if you can narrow down the kind of sickness, same rules apply for the animals, of what they're feeling, what kind of sickness is it, and remember that, that they're little sensitive souls too. So throw some crystals maybe around their food bowls, if it's digestive, not clearly so they'll eat them, but so that the amplification of energies come through there. I've also seen that you can infuse some water with citrine. So you set a little jar of alkalized water with a citrine in it on a shelf, let it sit for 24 hours, and then maybe pour some of that in their water to drink. So those little crystal energies help integrate. we're all just little souls trying to do the doing, and that pull of the full moon cannot be mistaken, like just don't knock it. Okay, here we go. Let's get into the reading for the week. Tomorrow on Tangent Tuesday, we'll go into more of the moons and the astrology tomorrow, because there is some interesting astrology this week. Again, not like it's like, oh, it's epic, but some stuff that you kind of go, that could be bumpy, could be interesting, could be really exciting. We just don't know how it's going to turn out, okay? So, weekly tarot reading, 5-card spread. I'm using the Tarot in Wonderland again. Alice is calling us lately. So, here we go. 5-card spread, right? We can look at it as, kind of a through 5 days of the week, but like a 2 or 3 day energy. So it covers for the full week. Then we have our spirit in which to move through this week from the Soul Space Oracle deck, which I love. Again, practicality. How do we get through this? So whether this week is bumpy or not for us, whether it's exciting and wonderful, what is the spirit in which to move through it? That's really sweet. I haven't seen that card in a long time. Okay. And then also more with the archangels. The archangel energy has been really big lately, very loud. So what angel to call upon this week? And that one's been pretty consistent too lately. Okay, here we go. So where are we starting with this week? What is the energy of the week? What is the theme of the overall week that we're going to be dealing with? So this is King of Pentacles. I think that's super interesting. Okay, so we've entered into Taurus season. Okay, again, I make note of these kind of transitions in the Instagram feed. So it's Taurus season. Hey, my birthday's coming. I love Taurus season because it's my birthday. But Taurus season is really yummy, okay? And Taurus is the true materialist. So it is the pentacle element. It is the earth element, all right? This is about abundance. This is about financial, like abundance and reaping rewards. This is about joy. It can be about health. And so this week we're dealing with the King of Pentacles. What does it mean to have enough? What does it mean to have everything you want? What does it mean to sit content at a table? So I think the interesting thing about this is in the Wonderland Tarot, it's the Mad Hatter, which we can go on for, a lifetime about the interesting bits of the Mad Hatter, but he's at the tea table, and the tea table, it's like always stuck at tea time. And so it's this repetition and a little bit of Groundhog's Day, but there's a contentness to it. It's also a little bit maddening. I mean, you can see the tea table as life, right? In a 3D incarnation where it's like, we get up, we have breakfast, we do our laundry, we go to work, we tend to things, and it's like the same thing all the time. And so it can be a grind, but it can also be really content. Like we have everything we need. We have people at the table. We have an endless teapot, right? So just know that we're going to be dealing with ideas and feelings of abundance. The King of Pentacles is the banker of the deck. And he actually, the best part of this is that he knows how to make money. He sits on his pile of riches and doesn't get too weirdly emotional about it. It's like, no, you reap what you sow. You put effort into. It takes time to cultivate. Don't get in a hurry. You're going to take some of it and spend, and you're going to take some of it and play, and you're going to put some of it and put it in long-term efforts and endeavors that take years. And there's this bit of of past life stuff with this full moon. I'm not sure if I said it before. And again, we've done the full moon here ritual, and I do so many readings that sometimes I forget what's coming out. But this full moon has so much to do with past lives, clearing the karma of it. And so the King of Pentacles, I'm hearing this go around too, is that some of this moon instigated past life gifts or past life balance, that it's like we've been waiting for the karmic balance, the good stuff to come in, like centuries. Your soul has been waiting for it, and that now is a time of instigation to start to have and feel some of the reward of it. But the King of Pentacles is very much about abundance, love, joy, health, finances, opportunities. And so it can really be like, that's just the way it is. It comes in, it goes out, it comes in, it goes out, it comes in, it goes out. And sometimes it's going out. But it's going to come back in. Just get yourself on the wagon with it. Okay. So there you go. Yeah. Yay for the Tauruses, So this is, Taurus season, Taurus sun, Taurus rising. I am totally a 50-50 of my Taurus Leo traits. I have Leo rising. But this is a good yummy season if this is where your birthday sits for you, right? Yes. Oh, yeah, Sarah. I mean, the past life baggage karma is intense. I released a lot, and it was like, whoa, it had some really cool outcomes as far as the messaging in it. So, just let it play out. So that's the theme of the week. We're still in karmic balance. Mad Hatter kind of sits in between both worlds, right? It's Wonderland. So it's kind of like this astral plane, this transition between like the earthly, it's like dream time, right? So there's going to be a lot being offered to you in dream time. I woke up with noisy dreams this morning, hearing things, and I was like, really? And then in your meditations, they could get a little, narrative if we let it. I think it's a wonderful time for Reiki treatments and Reiki healings and guided meditations that take on a little more mystical, like shamanic, temperament to it. So there's a lot here for us to play with. It's intense, and you're going to need time alone, or you're going to need recovery time, or you're going to need downtime. And I think this is one of those, like, lately the moons feel a little bit backwards, right? Whereas like full moons should be like da 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 da, and the new moons are like, oh, let me rest. And we had that reverse last time too, right? Because it was an Aries new moon, we all felt like going instead of resting. And this moon is so much in the karmic transition and healing that we're like, can we just rest a little bit? So rather than get stuck in the traditional functional reads, it's better to be present in the energy at play, so we know how to work with stuff and not, again, base it on past paradigms of it only works this way. And it's like, no, it's working this way right now, so go with it. So next steps, and I said it, and then here we go. Next steps this week is Four of Swords. And I think, gosh, where was this in our readings? Recently somewhere. So it's rest, it's restoration. This is always a call to meditation. Yeah. Hi, Erica. So the next steps this week is really about meditation and restoration. So this one is literally naps when you can, and it offers messaging too, because swords are about intellect, acumen, thought process, and words, but messages, in the cerebral, like intellectual, even astral plane. So you're going to get messages this week. Just don't shut down on them. Don't try to, I don't know. I just go to bed early, try to take a nap, do little mini meditations. If you don't meditate, start this week. Like, just put yourself in that space, because that's where, the integration is going to come from. And that's where messaging really, I think, can come from faster. Because again, trying to get messages into the 3D plane is dense. It's harder for energies to do that. They can do it, but it's harder. So next step is to rest. More resting. Okay. And tarot, the Taurus energy loves to sleep, loves to lay around, loves to be lazy. So it's just a great calling to grounding. And I talk a lot about sitting up against a tree, getting your feet in the grass. It's spring, it's time to do that. So find some places. Can you have your lunch outside, sitting up against a tree? Try to get that worked into this week in a very, conscious way. Okay. Then big steps for the highest and greatest good this week. I mean, this is a lovely, lovely reading. Four of Wands. So Four of Wands is a marriage. It's a celebration. It is the transition for the long game. So if you think about, marriage in that respect, it's a connection, right? And a commitment for the long haul. And so you have this moment of celebration, but she has all of her kitties near her. So it's like, there's something in this for you, Sue, right? That our pets are our familiars. So when you think about it as in terms of a witch, it's like they're there to protect us, but they're also there to courier messages for us. And they kind of bring messages back and forth in between the realms, because they can, they're just at a closer frequency than we are. So this, next biggest steps this week, like the biggest things that head to our highest and greatest good, is some sort of celebration, or at least a recognition, I feel like, in our own homes, in our own comfortable spaces, of that lightness. So Kayla, I think you said that, you feel like there was so much past life karma clearing. I had so much last week. It was a little epic. And then I was like, wondering why I was tired. And I thought, why am I wondering? That was kind of intense. So that this is a point in the week, right? I always look at this middle card around the Wednesday or Thursday mark. I think Thursday, if I check the calendar, I think Thursday is when Pluto goes retrograde. And again, not that retrogrades have to be epic, they're just a part of the cycle, but Pluto is the change or die planet. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. So there is a moment midweek, I would look for Wednesday or Thursday, of feeling committed to something new for the long term. So feeling free and celebratory about it. And I have to say that even through all the tired, if I sit down and I go, there's some stuff gone, it feels lighter. Right? And so if you can kind of get into that connection of, is it feeling light or heavy? How can we clear ourselves in this week to get to that lightness and the celebration of just a moment of peace and going, well, that feels different and that's good. And that's a celebration and that's enough right now. Okay. I do have to point out that in the back of their celebration, because they're underneath the little hoopah, there's a house of cards. And I think we all kind of feel like life is a little bit like a house of cards. Like we built this gorgeous thing, but one gust of wind and it can all come down, Meanwhile, this is Wonderland. The same rules do not apply. So maybe this one wiggles and it's got, gel in between it and it can't be knocked down. So our concepts of things being destroyed once we've built them are actually no longer at play here, that we're into a more magical space and a magical essence of it. Okay. So yeah, I think that this is a key turning point in the week. We're going to talk more about the astrology of it tomorrow. This week could be this wonky, could be rough, but it also could be really magical. So again, trying to transition our expectations of the house of cards falling and being destroyed to same rules don't apply once karma has been burned. It's different outcomes. So we have to have faith in the future and we have to expect miracles. Okay. All right. Assets to the situation. This is gorgeous. This is one of my most favorite cards in any deck. This is the Nine of Pentacles. I always see the Nine of Pentacles as she might as well be the Queen of Pentacles. 9 is about karmic closures and cycles ending. We've had a lot of that lately. She's always and here it's a crow, which I think is cool. It's usually a hawk. So this, always has to do with like training a hawk. Like hawks are unbelievably smart, but it takes this incredible amount of patience and time to build a relationship with a hawk, to teach the hawk, to make sure you're wearing gloves so you don't get bitten or scratched, right? And so 9 of Pentacles is about mastery of your gifts and that time that you have really put the time in. I'm talking like a lot of time, like 6, 7, 20 years into the work that you're doing, that it starts to be noticed, that cycles of, failure or disappointment are starting to end or being done and finishing off. And it's like she walks through, one, it's a chessboard, right? So there's been strategy and long-term, and she may have lost some of the battles, but she's getting to the other side of the board. These, to me look like sunflowers. Sunflowers are always a sign of abundance and things happening in late summer too, right? Things coming into real abundance at that point. So this is the asset to the situation, that we have been putting in our time in the same things over and over. And I hear healing. We're putting the time into our healing. So there comes a point where with enough time, there is healing, there is mastery, there is a finishing, and there is a new stage, right? And then I kind of hear this, like you get to the other side of the board and what do? You turn around, you play again, right? So it's, cycles. But this is always about mastery. This is always about standing in your empowerment of your mastery. What do you really know? What have you learned? What have you experienced? Nobody can take it away from you. You know what you know. You can't play dumb anymore. You can't be asked to be quiet. You can't not participate. Like, you know what you know, and it needs to be shared, and people are going to start to see it. Okay. I don't take questions, Rupali, on this day. This is our live weekly tarot reading. The only time that I take questions are on the new moon and the full moon readings, the Tuesday time. Okay, so this is like a time for us to connect about the weekly energies and to listen and just to be together in a live space. But I do take questions on the new moon and the full moon time. Okay. All right. So the outcome of the week, which this to me says that this week is more reward than bumps and kind of kookiness, right? This is the Magician. So this is the outcome of the week. So to me, the magician is the capacity to manifest, to make things happen, knowing all of the elements at play: earth, air, water, fire, our cognitive thoughts, our emotions, our connection to spirit, the physical 3D realm. At its best, the magician knows how to balance and work with all of these elements and bring things into tangible manifestation. So I see this as, as a manifestation of something really good this week. And again, you'll hear other astrologers, because the energy is, again, still pretty intense and interesting and unique these days, that it could be rough, it could be funky. But for unicorns, remember, this is our weekly reading as a collective energy. It's showing the magician. So to me, I hear very loudly, you're capable of bringing things into manifestation, or you're capable of making magic. Something good is going to come out of this week. That's a yes. Yeah. So, well, crows are the harbingers too, Anita, like of divine messaging. They're very magical. They're very smart. They're very loyal. And they are the messenger between the dead and the living. So crows, like, again, we can look at this as we've really trained and worked with our psychic gifts and capacities, and that there's messaging that's coming through. So look for your ancestors in your dream time this week. Or I know whenever I see cardinals, literal cardinals, even if it's like on a card or something walking past, that's my grandmother for sure. So look for messages for ancestors who have passed. Like, what are they just, and then you can go, okay, so I saw that they were present. What does that mean? It just means that they're present and they're supportive of you. I always take it as a good omen of you're not alone. You're being protected. You're being upheld. So just keep doing what you're doing, Yeah, I mean, they're powerful. And we're a bunch of magical unicorns. Crows are going to be important to us. I think crows are more important to us as a collective for those who really have the capacity to channel and to get messages in dream time, right? Like, we all have our thing of what we do best or loudest. And so just be on the lookout for those messagings. And Sue, my guess would be that your little kitty, that little fur baby is pretty powerful in trying to get messages to you. So you could, in a very strange way, look at it as some of the ailments and issues that they're having may be something you need to be aware of. That makes sense. Might be a little reach, but not out of the question. Oh, Lacey, yeah. So, just keep those things in mind. That's all. So this week for us looks very prosperous. We start with the King of Pentacles. We end with the Magician. There's a marriage and a celebration midweek, and Nine of Pentacles is mastery and empowerment. She's awesome. I mean, I know I say this, I love the Empress. I love the High Priestess. But Nine of Pentacles, she's up there with all the queens, in my opinion. And knowing that if it's, in the suits, of pentacles, of cups, of swords, or this is day-to-day stuff. So I think there's a real acknowledgement of things that from people where you're like, I have known these things for X 20 some years, and people are just now noticing I know this. It's like divine timing. Okay, spirit in which to move through this week. This card I haven't seen in a long time, and it's such a sweet, literally sweet card. This is tender. So I think this is just a reflection of the rest, and to be really tender with yourself when you're clearing things, especially ancestral karma. This is a big deal, and it's like you need to tread softly and sweetly with yourself. I love this card because it's like the baby pink and baby blue, that masculine and feminine energies are true balance. We all have both lunar and solar qualities. That to just go softly with ourselves this week. Babies need a lot of rest and a lot of naps. Why? Because they're growing and they're trying to integrate and do things in that restoration time. This is a reminder that we're doing things in that restoration time that we cannot conceive of, right? So just, again, be gentle with yourself, take baths, go to bed earlier, laze a bit, let there be a softness to your days this week as much as possible. And that's a hard sell during the week, but try. So when things feel frustrating, when you feel lost, if you just feel exhausted, the spirit in which to move through this week is to be tender with yourself. Okay. And so I see this, and it does feel very cozy, right? It's like blankies. And, if you love to knit, and that's a way for a moving meditation to kind of soften and slow things down, wearing soft fabrics can help slow you down on cozy jammies, it's interesting because it's full moon energy, but it's really acting like new moon. And last new moon was kind of acting like full moon energy. So we just go with what's at play. Be tender with yourself, be gentle. And our Archangel of the week. This is Archangel Jeremiah. Life review. Take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. Hello. Okay. Hi, Libra moon. I mean, we just talked and talked and talked about it last week, trying to get it in here without a glare. Hey, there we go. I'll just cover up my face. Okay. So with the Archangel Oracle card, and I'll read from the book, this is the Archangel to call upon this week, to ask for protection, to ask to be present in your lives, maybe to ask for messaging from, and to, again, just put things in review. This full moons are a time of release and letting go. And so and we're in this like final intense release and letting go. And sometimes it's like, well, I didn't get my message. So we'll get it anytime in the next 2 weeks, right? Look at what's been brought to fruition, what you've brought to culmination, what you've launched, what you've made, what you've created in this full moon. If none of that has happened, then start to, this is life review. Okay, here's what I made. Here's what has happened in this period of time. Great. What no longer serves my highest and greatest good, to move on to the next step. So, or what brought me to this creation that I don't need to bring into the next creation. If nothing has been brought to fruition, it's really a time to look at what's holding you back from doing the things you say you want to do, or from doing the things you really genuinely want to do. Just you've been procrastinating, or you let other things get in the way. You let other things come first. Be clear with that wording, that we let things take priority. So it's time to sit at life review. And this card always says to me, just really need to sit down and go, what do I want to make happen? What are the pieces we have to work with? How can I make a more organized puzzle out of this and give some priority to the things I want to manifest in my life, whether that's tangible or whether that's energetic, emotional, healing, right? Then how do we make room for that? Because you can't have everything at the same time, and something may need to go, but this is the point of review, right? Okay. Additional messages. It takes courage to look at your life, yet if done with compassion and a sense of humor, we'll grow and learn from a life review. I'll help you take stock of where you've been. We'll look at what you've learned and how these lessons are a valuable asset for today and tomorrow. We'll also notice life patterns that aren't serving your highest good, and we'll take steps to release those patterns. One of Jeremiah's purposes is to help newly crossed over souls review their lives. He also helps those who are still living to make life reviews. Take time soon to be alone and ask Jeremiah to help you review where you've been, what you've learned, and what patterns you're ready to release, and what you're grateful for in your life. So I think that's really interesting too, that he helps newly crossed over souls. And then we've got the crow. Crazy story. My husband had a very close friend pass last October when we were in Barcelona. Next morning, there's a crow sitting on our balcony. I mean, I don't think we saw crows the whole time we were there anywhere else. And he was like, I know it's her. I know it's her. And I was like, I know it is too. And so, crows are the harbingers between the two worlds. So I think there's something very clearly here. But I don't think it's a total call to recently past. I think this is just a time to connect to our ancestors, a time to really look at ancestral wounds, and a time to be open and receptive to messages from our ancestors, no matter how far back they go in our meditation and in our dream time and in day-to-day life, if they can get those messages through. So very powerful here about the transition of souls. And so that to me just goes back to speaking about karmic balance and karmic release. Part of the issue with our karma is that of our ancestors. What can we really let go of that we don't need to drag through anymore? When one person breaks the chain and the cycle in it, it's broken. That's what healing looks like from an ancestral place. So we're all capable of it. And that's cool. Looking at the comments. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty perfect archangel, honestly, for this week. Side note, if you're looking to invite more energy of your ancestors into your home, into your meditations, into dream time, you can do a little tiny spell that's so easy. You can take a little jar and put a bay leaf on it, and you can write a thank you to your ancestors on the bay leaf. Stick it in a jar and put equal amounts of olive oil and honey. Close it up. Set it, like if you have an altar space or a meditation space. Olive oil and honey are sweets offerings that they still are interested in. If that makes sense. Bay leaf is luck, you know. So that's something that we have in our bedrooms at home. My mom passed last year around this time. And also, you know, if you guys, I work with a lot of people who have loved ones who've passed that they've never heard from, and they get really disappointed in that, you know, why not? There is a theory that really those souls who have passed, it takes a minimum of 7 years for them really to be able to communicate with you. So there may be something for you all in the 7-year transition point. So if you have loved ones who have been gone for around 7 years, you may be getting your first messages from them in this week. If you've had family members who had dementia or Alzheimer's, you know, they were gone from this plane in that cognitive sense much sooner than before their physical bodies passed. So those messages can come through faster from those. That was the case with my dad. And like the moment he passed, I was having dreams and it was him, you know? So again, there's this ancestral, like wound clearing messaging from the other side. It's an interesting week, y'all. I see it as very positive, but anytime you're dealing with those bigger energies on the other side, that can be exhausting. It can be a little scary. It could be a little like, oh, okay, my brain's in 700 places, literally. And we just have to make it through our week. So looking at the comments again. Yeah, so Kayla, you've already had this experience. I just think the veils are very thin right now. That's my feeling about it. And you can do things to encourage those messages if it's time for them to come through. And just knowing timings of things can be very comforting and go, oh, because I work with a lot of clients who are very upset that they haven't heard from past loved ones, especially mothers or fathers who have transitioned. And it's like, well, and some of their souls get stuck places, you know, so there's all kinds of elements to it. Yeah, just remember that when you're dreaming about those who have passed, that's really them. Like those are straight up messages. So listen, you know, and be open and be receptive to it. And the messaging isn't always clear. It can be a little mucky, but I always take it as a positive thing. My dads are always really funny, actually, and pretty clear. I'm like, okay, you know. So just be in the moment, be in the energy. Yeah, I mean, that's your reading for this week. I'll get a photo of the card layout up and get it on Instagram for you today. Again, remember that the deep dive sessions are on sale through the end of this month. So you have like 9 more days to purchase yours. If you haven't found a spot in my calendar that works for the deep dive sessions, message me. I'll find you a spot. If you're willing to do the deep work, I will make room for you. Please like these videos. It looks like you guys can do it while we're watching. So just go click the little thumbs up. That would be really, really, really helpful to me. And to the messaging, share it, you know, click the little share button, just throw it up on a generic, you know, just on your regular Facebook page. It's really helpful to share the work. So please and thank you. And what else? I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk more about the astrology. It'll be a real tangent day tomorrow, and we'll get deeper into the astrology and the moons this week. Okay. So if you have questions about the astrology, we'll talk about the energies more tomorrow and probably just touch on this last full moon. But yeah, thank you all for being here. I love you very much. Happy Monday. Happy Earth Day. And happy still full moon energy. It's a big one. So let's honor it. Okay. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go click the subscribe buttons too. I always tend to forget these things, so I'm trying to remember to be good about it. All right. I love you guys. Bye.